Hello, Corey and Freddie. I thought I'd share my workshop with you and also some of the projects that I have in a box after you showed us yours, Corey. But this is the basic workshop, the one side. And over there's the shipping department. Oh, Corey, you asked how I heat down here. That's how I heat it, how I heat my area. Just a wall-mounted gas furnace. Works great. And it didn't really increase my fuel bill either that much, so it doesn't really cost that much to use. Got some supplies over here, which over here takes us to our first project in the box. This is a do-it-yourself BMY in a box kit. Some assembly required. And then over here we have a BMY stator waiting for a head wire. That's on the docket. Over here I'm working on an 8-inch Emerson. Nice little fan. And parts have been soaking for a while. In here is another BMY in a box, but this is the one I'm currently working on. So I'm working on the blade. This is a little 8-inch GE that I'm working on. That's a nice little fan. You'll see the rest of the parts in a moment. Over here are parts to an AOU that pretty much is complete. I'll show you the rest of the parts in a minute. I just have to put it together. But that'll come together quickly once I sit down and do it. Over here's where I have my buffer and my vibratory tumbler and a vise. And if we come around to the other side, I also have a rotary tumbler down there next to the hot water tank. These things are great. You throw your stuff in there, throw some media in there, start it, and come back in a few days and it's really shiny. Really nice. The vibratory tumbler is good too. It's a little faster, but it's loud. Kind of annoying when you're trying to work down here. Alright, next to the shipping department, we have the holding area for fans that need parts. This is an Arctic Air that has a bad motor, so I got to find a motor for it, but they're pretty common, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. I don't know if either one of you can use any Westinghouse parts, but I hate Westinghouse stamped steel motors. This one had a bad motor. It was seized up and the case was bent, and once that case is bent, from what I understand, they're pretty much junk. That's why I stay away from Westinghouse fans. This is a GE Whiz. Now this one, the only thing this one needs is, if you look, there's a bad, it's hard to even see here, but that bearing carrier has a chip in it. There it is right there. And that prevents you from tightening up the struts. So Tim Marks has created a brass carrier to replace this. And well, I told him last November that I'd like one, but I guess he hasn't gotten around to it yet. But when he does, I think I'm going to get a couple new bearings for it. If he doesn't, then I'm going to have to come up with a way to fix this one. This is a little Arctic Air, an old one. And this is one of the very first fans I worked on. Not this particular fan, but I did one for a friend of mine's son who was going to college. And it was nice to work on, and it's really a nice fan. When they're running, they rev up really high, they push a lot of air, and they're very easy to work on. And then over here is a 2-star GE fan. This one's kind of tired, but I think it needs a couple motor bearings. But that blade will clean up nice. I tried cleaning up one of the wings, and the brass is really nice underneath all of that tarnish. So I think that's it as far as projects in a box. I'll show you the rest of my my work area over here through this door. Here I have my air compressor and my sandblasting cabinet and my larger sandblaster. So this is where I clean things up. Usually, now that I have the electrolysis set up, I usually start with electrolysis and then come down here and clean it up in the blast cabinet. And that electrolysis setup makes this work so much easier. You know, you're really just finishing up the surface for primer or filler or whatever, you know, whatever the piece needs. But that's my sandblasting area. Out in the garage is some more fan fun. Over here. Down on the bottom shelf are a couple of GE Quiet Blade fans. That second one from the left, that was one of the very first fans I got. My father bought me that. Without realizing it, he bought it and it's a 40 cycle brushed motor. So it's really kind of unusual. So I have a bridge rectifier I'm going to install on a power strip. And so I can run that, and also some of the other, I know Fred, I think you had mentioned that the brushed motors will run better on on DC than they will on AC. So I'm probably going to use that too. And then next to it is a AOU that I'm going to restore. That's one of the next ones. I want to use that to generate some money to hopefully buy a tank. And got a clamshell here. I think that'll clean up nice. And then that GE, this is a later model GE. This is not something I ever would have bought, but my friend bought it and wants me to restore it for their cottage. So I'll probably work on that this summer. It's a nice fan. It runs really well too. And then just some junk, Arctic junk. And there's a GE back there that I bought for parts because I don't even know if it runs. The Vortelex I'm going to use down in the basement just as a cooling fan when I'm working down there in the summer. And then up here, there's a little Westie back there, which I like because I have one in the house that you're going to see shortly that I absolutely love. So that's a nice running little fan, Old Century, and a little GE back there. This GE I bought for parts, really just for the switch, because I need it to restore this little old guy. And you can see they just kind of rigged up a toggle switch that's with some electrical tape. I love that. That's a top-notch electrical job there. This GE oscillator, this is really a nice fan. It runs great. It's very quiet. It's very smooth. So I'll probably clean that up and paint it and probably sell it. So that's for what's up here. I try to keep all the fans down in the basement, but I think they're sneaking up here at night. So if you come around here to the corner kitchen, you'll find a couple BMY bases and some housing parts. That's my little Westie in the back there. Great running little fan. This is the cage that belongs to the BMY in a box in the basement. It looks rough, it's just very tarnished, but it's a very nice cage. It's going to clean up nice. Fred, I think that's the one that's going to go on the BMY I'm painting candy apple red. And down here, I have a little Gilbert Polar Cub. Nice little fan. This is one of my only commutator fans outside of the quiet fan out in the garage, but it runs well. I'm hoping it runs even better after I run it on DC when I get that bridge rectifier and that power strip. And then on the kitchen table, more BMY motor housings. Can you tell which fan I like to work on the most? And a BMY cage I'm working on. And then in the other corner of the kitchen is an AOU. That's the one I showed you downstairs. This one's ready to come together. The only thing I need to do to this fan is, it was sort of a damp day in the fall when I shot the cage. I was kind of pushing my luck, but it has a couple imperfections that I don't like, so I'm going to redo the cage. And then a little 8-inch GE, I showed you that downstairs. And then if we head into the living room, right around the corner is my 08 GM BMY. And this one has a centrifugal switch, which I absolutely love. I love any fan with a centrifugal switch, but just a great running fan. This fan will run all day, and it'll never get warm. It always stays cool. And there's a little Emerson Jr. here. And I don't know why, but these fans get no respect. Everybody knocks these fans, but they're great. They're a nice running little fan. They're heavy, but everybody picks on them, it seems. This is the AUU that I wrote about in the February issue of the AFC magazine. And then over in the other corner, I have a little Wagner. This is a great little fan too. I love all my fans. The ones that if they make it into the living room, it's because I love them. And then in the dining room is my newest acquisition, my 16-inch Century. And I love this fan. For $200, I think it was a great deal. And the thing I love most about this fan is the open rear motor and front motor. I just love the open motors. I think they really are a neat looking fan. Definitely a quality fan. This thing is so heavy. Great fan. So anyhow, guys, that's pretty much everything in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you on the forums and on Facebook soon. Talk to you later.